Oh, never.
Hello, and we're live in the Classy Llama Commerce, whatever it's called, Llama Commerce Show. Is that what we call
Llama Commerce Studio, Llama Commerce Show. Yes,
that's it. We call it the Llama Commerce Show. That's awesome. So today is a very special day because I'm going to introduce myself now, because that's what we do at the beginning of every show.
Yes.
I'm Kurt Theobald. I'm the CEO at Classy Llama.
And I'm Brett Curry. I'm the lead strategist at Classy Llama. And it does feel good to be able to introduce yourself to the entire internet.
Yeah, that's right. That's amazing. My son just drew a picture of the internet the other day. You know what it looked like?
What?
A tornado.
Really?
I don't know why, but yeah, it did.
Yeah, there's something like deep and philosophical somewhere in that, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I asked him to explain it, and then he did, and I didn't understand it. So anyway.
Probably something deep in that as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, today we're talking about something amazing, and that amazing thing is something that Brett knows about, and I looked through it a little bit, but mainly he knows about it.
Yeah, which is cool. So we just did like one of the first. Was that the first webinar ever that Classy Llama's done, or one of the first?
No, I mean we've done other, but on this topic,
yes,
like an e-commerce marketing. I think it's the first e-commerce marketing webinar we've ever done, and I was so impressed. I looked through the slide deck, and I was just like, "Whoa!" What I know that you and Jesse worked on it together, and I heard it went really, really well.
All the good stuff was from me, and Jesse just made it look good.
Yeah,
which is usually the way it works.
Why he's on the edge of being fired always.
Exactly. So we're talking about 5 keys to serious e-commerce growth, and we will post a replay link to the full webinar. It was like 60 minutes. This show will be a highlight of kind of some of the major points, and then we'll also have some witty banter, I think, to throw in there.
In this show, we should have some witty banter this time.
Maybe
that'd be great.
Work it in.
Well, let's start with Ott, won-our table tennis trophy player, whatever that we're going to hand out. He decides who delivers the most value on the show, and I'll just leave it here as a matter of evenness, even though we all know what's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. You can't even see Ott right now.
That's because I hide him behind this.
Yes.
I hide him behind the big microphone.
Oh, now I get it.
On purpose.
All right, good.
Yeah.
So let's start with the first key.
Okay.
First key. This is if I had to pick my favorite source of traffic right now for the e-commerce merchant, I guess I may lean towards organic traffic, but that takes time and it's not a guarantee, and there's just a lot of variables there. If you could get free organic search engine traffic, that's ideal. But starting from scratch, or even just taking your current site and trying to really grow it, I would choose Google Shopping. Google Shopping as my favorite traffic source. And I shared this on the webinar, but we've got several clients using Shopping right now. And I ran a report on all of 2014 for our return on ad spend average. This does include the shopping season, so that impacts numbers a little bit. But you want to take a guess at what that return on ad spend was?
Well, a good return on ad spend, and I hope this doesn't sink your ship, but a good return on ad spend is somewhere between 4 and 6x.
Yeah. So our average was 607.
Hey, how about that? 6.07?
607% return on ad spend, or 6x.
6x. So it's right at the top end of the range I just said. Wow, he didn't sink, everyone. That was close.
And here's what's crazy. We've got a couple of experiments. I'd be happy to talk to anybody about individually. We did a couple of experiments that really work with larger feeds better than smaller feeds. But there was one campaign we got a 32,000% X, or 32.
That's like 320 X or something like that. Wow,
and it wasn't just on one sale. It was, I think, 250 conversions or something like that.
That's amazing. Well, hey,
pretty crazy. Speaking
of witty banter, you know how Brett was saying my favorite ever source for traffic? I thought it reminded me of someone's talking about their favorite movie or their favorite, their favorite TV show.
Yeah.
It just shows how nerdy Brett is about e-commerce marketing. He's like, oh, my favorite ever.
My favorite source of traffic.
And then he just goes on and starts talking about it like it is his favorite TV show. And I just think that's hilarious.
I can talk about it with as much passion as a good movie. I don't know what that says about me. Maybe I'm a dull person.
You're a nerd.
I'm a nerd.
That's
yes,
what it says about you.
So a couple of quick things about Google Shopping. We'll move on to key number 2. With Google Shopping, you want to think about that thing like SEO, because unlike regular AdWords, you're not creating ad groups and keywords, and you're not telling Google exactly what you want to show up for. You're submitting this feed that is either pulled from your site, or you can create one manually that has images and products and prices and descriptions and titles. And it really does work a lot like SEO. You got to get that thing finely tuned so that when Google looks at your products, they say, this is relevant for these types of queries.
Well, and related to e-commerce, isn't it specifically most powerful for unbranded keywords?
Yeah, I mean it's eating up a lot of unbranded keywords. So if you look at, we saw a report recently that 56% of all non-branded search queries went to a PLA. So people, if someone's just typing in running shoe or this kind of valve or whatever product they're looking for, if it's not brand specific, meaning if I'm not looking for your site, 56% of those clicks are going to
and
PLAs.
I think, and not only that, but just to talk about the strength and the usage of PLAs, I think it's something like 30% of overall retail clicks, at least, if not overall clicks, are going to a PLA,
which is huge.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's gigantic. And what's interesting is I just want to underscore something here, because I just want to make sure that everyone listening and watching recognizes what we're saying here. That means that the game of search, the game of paid search, has changed. Because before it was text, and now 30% of at least retail-oriented searches are now going through PLAs, going through Google Shopping. So if you're not playing the Google Shopping game, you're missing out on 30% of the game, potentially. Obviously, you got to be sensitive to your product mix and that sort of thing. But theoretically, the game has changed. And if you're not doing Google Shopping, you are missing out. Big time. And we found that you can get kind of crazy on the bids if you want to. For products that are not converting well, you can just go crazy low on the bids. And so there's just so many opportunities there, but you do need to think about it from an SEO perspective. And then what we do, which this becomes hard if you've got a big feed, or a lot of products you're trying to advertise, is we like to hold each product accountable. And you can do that through AdWords and analytics, and you got to run some spreadsheets and do some fun stuff on the back end of that. But rather than just creating groups of products, we like to make sure that every product is carrying its own weight and actually selling. And so we bid on a SKU level, even for a feed that's 20,000 products.
And so that's manageable. You can manage that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got a question for you, Brett. If you were to, someone just starting out with Google Shopping, you're looking at it, would you say take your entire product database and go for it? Or would you say select the top 5%, the top 3%, the top 100 products, something like that?
I think rather than percentage based, I would look at more like, hey, someone's trying to get a hold of us.
That's Brett. This is live. There's nothing we can do about it. There's no editing that out.
I'm just so
Stop
in demand
screwing it up,
now.
Brett. Okay, turn your phone off.
All right. Hey, that's an idea. So I would recommend starting with your top products, but think, 150 to 200 products would be ideal. We've helped a couple of clients to just have 5 or 6 products, and you can start there, but it takes a while to ramp up. So if you have more products in your feed, you're going to start getting impressions and clicks much faster, see what's working much faster, than optimize from there.
Okay.
So that's a good place to start.
Great.
So Google Shopping, totally awesome. Number 2, the next key is to focus on AdWords little things, okay, and to begin to kind of obsess about the details. So if I had to pick my second source of traffic, my second favorite source of traffic, it'd probably be AdWords. And obviously that's nothing new there, but I think what is becoming necessary there is that you focus on the little things, the details, or else you're going to pay too much and waste time. And
at this point in time, I mean, AdWords is so mature as an advertising medium that you're going to have to do something really surgical, really specific, really detailed to get ahead, or you're going to have to be a big brand with ridiculously huge pockets. So that's not the people that are listening to this, I don't think, because it could be. Oh my gosh, is someone really rich listening to this?
I just suddenly got nervous. I don't know. Yeah, but just a couple of things. We'll fly through these quickly, but setting up your site links, getting a diversity of site links, really kind of obsessing about your quality score. What is the quality score per keyword?
And if you don't know what that is, you need help.
Call us or call somebody you need help. And so, you want to be in that 8 to 10 range. If you're below 6 on your quality score, you got issues typically. We do find with some campaigns, like if you're going after a competitor, if you're going after competitive keywords, then it is harder to get a good quality score, and it may be worth it even with a bad quality score, just depending on your strategy.
Funny story about quality score.
Yes.
I can't remember. I think it was actually through Classy Llama that we were struggling with this in some of the early days, but we kept on hitting a quality score of it was right on 4. And then once it hits 3, they don't even show your ad anymore.
Pretty much.
And I could not figure out what was going on. And I don't know if you ended up digging us out of that mess. I can't remember. But anyway, funny story. I've really screwed up quality score before, and I still don't know how to fix it.
And it will torpedo your site. Basically, just quickly, it's 3 things. It's your click-through rate or expected click-through rate. So if you get some history, Google will take your history into account and also predict the future. They're pretty good about that.
Well, and that webinar that you did, we'll post that on the blog. And so you guys can look at that. I looked through it. I was really super impressed, and I learned a lot actually just by reading through it without even listening to your sweet, soft voice, talking about it. But that was really informative about quality score. Some of the graphs that are in there made it really easy for me to understand how huge of a deal it is to have a good quality score.
It's massive. And then also how do you determine what you actually pay for a click? So you got your bid, and then what you actually pay. we solved that riddle a little bit.
It's where you rank and how much you pay. So it's amazing. It's a
crazy
huge deal.
stuff. So obsess about the details with AdWords. We'll kind of leave it at that, but AdWords is still very important. Even if you're in a super competitive niche and you're just using it to expand and to explore and to find profitable keywords, you got to be doing it to a certain degree, I think. So,
and don't forget about your landing page. I'm going to throw that one in there. That's critically important that you make sure you're optimizing your landing page, because you get the traffic, and then if you don't take care of that traffic, what in the world are you doing with AdWords? So it's just as important to optimize your click-through and your impressions and all that, your quality score. It's just as important to optimize what they're coming to, what they're seeing first. It's critical.
Yeah, and a big part of quality score actually is the landing page. So the landing page is kind of the third element. You got click-through rate, ad relevance, and then the landing page.
Which makes a huge amount of sense, because quality score is all about getting the right traffic to the right destinations.
Totally. So we got the 5 C's of a good landing page. We won't go through all of them right now, but
they're on that. They're on the webinar, the slideshow that we'll put on a link on the.
I will talk about one, because we see this violated all the time. It's called just congruency. So when you run an ad, a special, a promotion, so many times we see advertisers will create this ad that's 20% off, 50% off, buy one get one free, whatever the case may be, and then they send traffic to a landing page that says nothing about that offer. So this ad made this great claim and great offer, then you land on a category page, and the user is thinking, where am I? Am I in the right place? How do I use that offer? How do I use that deal that I just clicked on an ad for? Now I'm lost.
So if Brett ever calls you incongruent, don't take it personally. He's just talking about your landing page.
Exactly. I'm talking about your page, not you. Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. So AdWords, little things, that's huge. The next one, and you'll get excited about this, Kurt, because I know how you are. Data. Getting really leveraging your data. Yeah, I can see it in your face.
Yeah, all you podcast
I think you fell
listeners,
asleep, actually.
I'm giving Brett a long, dull stare. No, actually, I am a pretty big data buff. I love taking things from the data approach. Yeah. But Brett's a big nerd, and so he deserves people to look at him.
Big nerd. I wish I was a little bit better at math. Math was a good subject for me, but I'm not like rock star mathematician.
You're not like data in Star Trek?
No, I'm not like data in Star Trek. I'm not even like some of the devs here. I wish that I wasn't.
Well, speaking of data in Star Trek, let's talk about data.
Yeah, let's talk about data.
That was a good segue.
Man, that was beautiful. You got to think about hosting a podcast or something.
I know. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So one of the things we recommend is using enhanced e-commerce inside of analytics, and that's a relatively new feature. It's fantastic. It will give you shopping cart metrics, which I remember one of the first things I asked when I was first learning Magento from a marketing perspective is, hey, how do you calculate cart abandonment? And you know what the answer was that I got? I don't know. I asked like some really good developers, how do you find cart abandonment rate inside of Magento? Well, there's ways to do it, but I don't know, And so now inside of with the enhanced e-commerce, you can calculate cart abandonment rate. You can see cart ads versus when they bail, what step in the checkout they bail. You can sort that by traffic source, all kinds of other cool stuff.
So we've actually taken with data, we've taken with the stuff we built into the eCommerce platform, we've hooked into universal analytics.
Yep.
And then we built out some special development in there to push data, special data pieces from Magento into universal analytics. So you can look at things like performance by customer group and that sort of thing. So you can see the difference between wholesale and your standard customers. And so there's some really cool stuff that's built into that. So I'm just trying to defend my position that I really care about data.
Okay, good. That was well done. I was really convinced there. That was fantastic. Then the other thing that it offers is what's called merchandising reports. And so you can look at if you have featured products on your homepage, if you run banners on other category pages, related products, things like that. You can see for this particular product, here's where it got impressions on your site. Here's where it got clicks from other places on your site, and then how did that translate into sales? So
are you seeing like have you gotten to a point where you see some of the benefits of the new things with universal
it's
analytics?
So new. I mean, I've really just seen test data and stuff like that. Nothing that's super actionable yet. What we're finding is most clients are coming to us and saying, we want that. Like we really want that.
Yeah, because I know there were things that we wanted to do when we were building out for the eCommerce platform that we couldn't do until universal analytics came out. So there's some really cool things in there that made it possible for us to get places we haven't been able to get before.
Lots of really good actionable insights will be gained here in the coming months with that. There's a great plugin, an extension that's free that actually our friends at Blue Acorn developed. They worked with Google to develop that. And so that is available. It's free inside of the Magento store. And so check that out.
What?
To integrate with Magento. To allow enhanced e-commerce.
Okay.
So to allow that feature set, you have to have, well, there's some custom
certain data
coding
has
that,
to push from Magento into Universal Analytics.
So that's like the approved, the Google approved extension is yeah. So
now I know that they built Universal Analytics integration into the latest release of Magento, so I wonder if it's already there or if Blue Acorn's extension does more than
I don't know. We'd have to check in on that.
Well, we'll ask Blue Acorn.
We will find out. Yes, indeed. So data. Enough said, right?
Oh no, actually, you said one final thing with data, and this is the thing you actually quoted yourself, which I think is just really conceited. He quoted himself in the webinar, in the slideshow, whatever.
No, I totally did.
No, I looked through it, and there's no laughing. There's no smiley face or anything there.
Yeah.
It's just like, what did you say though? You said something I think is really good.
It was yeah. Well, see, what I did was I said I love it because I've been on webinars where somebody
does
like
data without actionable something results is useless.
Is useless.
And I think it's really good because if we just get focused on data in and of itself is worthless. You have to attach meaning to it and then take action in response to it.
Meaning, and then what kind of action will you take because of that meaning? Yeah. And I did say I love when people quote themselves, so I'm going to do it right now.
Wow, right now?
No, I mean in the webinar. That's how I framed it at that time. So it was fun. You would have had to have been there.
Yeah, Brett Curry once said, "Like I framed it at that time." I just quoted you.
Man, that's a really good one. Something deep and profound.
We should probably move on past data. This is
let's move on to point number 4. And so actually I'm going to skip around just a little bit. I want to talk about video briefly. We'll talk about this really briefly. But with video, we've talked about TrueView on this show a couple times. I do see a lot of value there. I'll tell you what we're not seeing though. So just a quick caveat is running a TrueView ad and then seeing a conversion directly from that. We're not making that connection yet that we're seeing. So in some cases, but what we are seeing is that leading to engagement and people signing up as subscribers on YouTube or downloading something or signing up for an email list. So it really appears that is more top of the funnel. And the idea there with TrueView is you can run pre-roll videos, ads on YouTube in a very targeted fashion. So you can even say, you can even be on YouTube and say, I want to find videos about my competitors' products, and I want to run an ad before those videos.
Yeah, and consider with TrueView, it's not too surprising to see that trend emerging because it's similar to Facebook, where people go to Facebook to consume content, social content. Yeah. Whereas with YouTube, they're going to consume video or entertainment content or something like that. So they're not there in the mindset of a consumer. They're in the mindset of a consumer of entertainment or content.
Exactly.
And so the best you're usually going to do is going to be getting a lead or be able to develop a relationship with them.
Exactly. But it's still valuable, and you only pay if someone actually watches the video. So they have to watch
at least half, right?
Actually, that's changed. If it's 30 seconds, they have to watch the whole thing.
Okay.
If it's more than 30 seconds, they have to watch at least 30 seconds. And then if it's less than 30 seconds, they have to watch the whole thing.
Wow.
So if it's a 15-second video, they got to watch the whole thing. So what we're testing right now is putting in a call to action or a button, like, hey, click here to get a coupon or a freebie or whatever before that 30-second mark to try to get a click. Because if you get a click before then, you don't actually pay for that click. You're just paying for the view. That may change, but that's the way it is now.
And I will say TrueView right now is really exciting for us because it's an emerging medium, and which means the costs are going to be lower on it. It means fewer people really have it figured out, and so there's a lot of opportunity there. There's more risk, but there's a lot of opportunity.
You can also see where people are dropping off in your video. We've got a couple videos we launched for a client about a month ago. And we advised them in the beginning. We said, hey, we don't think these videos are going to perform very well, and here's why. But they said, well, go ahead and run them. We'll work on new videos in the meantime. And you could see it. About halfway through, people just were bailing on this video. And so you've got some good insights there, too, about what's clicking with people and what's not. So
and just it's not one of those big blast things, just so everybody understands. It's actually something that is surgically targeted, you can say, based on search queries, based on what they're viewing. So it's just as relevant as AdWords or Facebook advertising. You've got that ability to tailor it to your audience. So where else are you going to be able to show video, which is like the warmest medium possible, targeted content like that? You certainly can't do it on TV.
No, and one of the best audiences to choose is a remarketing audience. So you can also say anybody that's visited my site, now when they're messing around on YouTube and watching, just
and because Google owns YouTube, you're going to have that kind of capability. You're going to be able to leverage all the kinds of things you can do in your AdWords account, but now apply it to a TrueView campaign. So we have said it before. If you want to watch a more in-depth show on that, we actually have a show where we interview some really cool
Jake Larson.
Thanks. Yeah.
Some really Grizzly cool Adams is what he looked like. He had the massive beard.
Right. But we already did at least one show on that. You guys can go back and take a look at that for more information on TrueView ads.
Check it out, video, and then we will end with what I referenced in the very beginning, and that is SEO. And I think in fact, I don't think, I know, I talked about on the webinar in 2004 was when I first started dabbling with SEO. I had a client and they were like, hey, you know SEO? And I said, no, I don't. And they said, well, learn it. And I said, okay. And so they had this, I can't say the domain because they didn't actually own it, they were renting it, but it was in the printing space. And it was a pretty good domain. And so they said, we want to rank for brochures. And so I started writing articles, and they were actually pretty good. They were like how to use business cards, how to use brochures to grow your business. And then I used article directories, which now either don't exist or they're awful. Yeah. And so I blasted this all over the place. And it took a couple months, but I got them to page 1 for brochures.
Nice.
For the keyword brochures. And so ever since then, I've been kind of hooked on SEO. It's pretty fun. Yeah. The game has dramatically changed, but here's what we found. And we'll keep this really brief, but we see a lot of sites. I just talked to a merchant a couple weeks ago, and they have a domain authority of like 50, which that is pretty good. Domain authority is on a 0 to 100 scale. Most sites are in like the 20, 30 range. So these guys are a domain authority of 50, and I got to look at some of their pages. None of them were optimized. So like product pages, category pages, none of them were optimized.
And consider that, think of domain authority like your bedrock. It's like at the very foundation, and then how you optimize your individual pages are like accelerators. Do you think that's a good way to describe it?
In some ways, I would almost view like the way you optimize your pages as more of the foundation.
Oh, okay.
And then
domain authority is the accelerator.
Exactly. I would
okay, so in other words, take what I said and say the opposite, and then you've got it. Thanks, Brett. Did you hear Brett? He like tried to make me feel good. He's like, oh, yeah. I mean, something like that. Yeah, mainly the opposite. Thanks, Brett. You're super sweet.
No problem. Yeah.
All right. So the opposite of what I say.
So the opposite of what Chris says is what you want to actually go with. But what they were, and the reason for that is they had all these big sites linking to them. So they had a great backlink profile. But then when you drill down in the category pages, they weren't good. Like,
which is like that's exciting for any SEO.
Oh man,
these are things I can control.
Yeah, we can go in a couple of months, optimize all those things and probably see a nice lift for them. But so what we talk about, the 4 pillars of on-site optimization, and stuff like title and meta tag and content and getting some markup in there and your alt tag, just basic stuff. But
it's stuff that's
amazing
so
how many people aren't doing it.
That nobody wants to do it. I think that's really, it's like, oh my gosh, I do not want to go in and mess with my meta tags and stuff like that. People like Brett like doing that stuff.
Actually, I got a confession. I don't do any of that anymore. But I do have people that love to do it that are on our team.
You would do it because
I do like to analyze it. Yeah, a little bit. That's the way it goes. So if you want to find out more details, do check out the replay. We'll put it in the comments below. I think it'll be fun. Also, I think that kind of spurred the idea that we should do webinars more often.
Yeah, I think so. I think giving more people the opportunity to see the webinar you guys did. I thought it was so good. I just love the content. It seemed like it was really well put together. Not like the Llama Commerce show. It's not like all over the place. Doesn't have anyone like me on it. And so it's actually really good content that just really clips. So if you want great content, delete me, just listen to Brett, and you're going to be
I've been thinking that for so long. I'm so glad you finally said it.
So let's talk about actionable bites. How can we, I mean, that's so much. You just talked about the 5 keys of like online marketing.
It's like 5 keys of online e-commerce life. Exactly.
So so how do you distill that down and say, take action?
Yeah, good point. So here's what I would do. I would look at a couple things. One, I would start with SEO and just start looking at that right now, because there's some tools you can run that are pretty easy. So I would use the Moz Open Site Explorer and just put your site in there, a few of your top competitors, and it's going to give you some good metrics on where you're failing. So Moz Open Site Explorer is a great place to start.
They sound very critical.
What's that?
They sound very critical.
They do, yeah. Here's where you're failing. Fail, F. Yeah. So that's a place to start. And then I would also look at some of your top keywords, type them into Google, and see if they're pulling in shopping results, which I would bet that almost all of them are. And if you're not there, you have to get there. You have to check that out. And so one of the things we offer on the webinar, we'd love to do a strategy session. I'll do that with you personally, most likely, if we can fit it in. And but I would look at those 2 things for sure. See who's on shopping, and if you can be there, run a couple reports on your site from an SEO perspective. That's at least 2 actionable bites. Yeah,
that's fantastic. And then the trouble is, asking the question, what are actionable bites out of the kind of content we just covered, is very challenging.
It's kind of hard
because there's so much there.
Yeah.
I think you have to make a key decision. Am I going to tackle this myself, or am I going to pull in help? I think that's a really key question you have to ask, because if you're in the e-commerce game, you've got to be paying attention to this stuff. You do, or somebody has to on your behalf. And so You can't ignore it. And I think that's my actionable bite for you, is don't ignore it.
Can't ignore it. Yep.
How are you addressing these different areas? And you've got to stay on top of it. You got someone else to stay on top of it for you. So
awesome.
Anyway, I think that's a great show aside from, my contributions. And I think for that reason, hands down goes to Brett.
Yes.
Because I've really just been here as a hanging appendage of this show.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Academy and
okay, but rather I'm just going to put it back on my shelf back there where it's going to stay, and Brett really doesn't get it at all.
That's fantastic. I never do. I never get to keep it.
He never does get. Nobody does. Just
nobody
me.
does.
So anyway, hey, if you guys have questions, if you want us to cover things, I actually had this something off Amazon like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then they said they followed up and they said, how did you like the product? And I was like, oh my gosh, someone followed up with me on Amazon. This is amazing. This is like customer service.
Yeah.
I want to give feedback on the product. And so I emailed them back and I was like, oh my gosh, well, first of all, product's fine, but you guys are amazing. You like emailed me, you asked me, can I interview in the Law of Commerce show? Guess what?
What?
He has seen the show.
No!
Yep, just random stranger has seen the show. So it's not just our moms, it's not just our friends, it's not just Jesse being forced to watch it. There are people that are watching the Law of Commerce show, complete strangers.
Jesse's got Netflix up actually over there.
I mean, literally, I either won the lottery or we are ridiculously famous. So I just want you to know that you are listening to ridiculously famous people right now. And you are welcome. You are welcome to watch again. We may start charging you money.
Yeah, probably will. So get it once free.
So ask us questions via social media. Been great fun hanging out with everybody.
Good
and
stuff.
Until next time, stay
classy.